Hi, so my name is Kat. Wanted to do a voiceover for this speed paint just because I guess, it helps me remember what I was thinking at the time, and if anybody else watches this, it helps them understand what I was thinking, and it could be helpful, and that works. Uh, so the first thing I was doing was the lines. Pretty basic stuff for the lines. Honestly, I was just trying to practice making more confident lines, and for some reason, I'm usually really afraid to erase lines or to do it all on the same layer and then just not have five different layers for each part of the body. But I feel like when it's something, forward, something that's really far in the front, or something really far in the back, that's when I should make it more than one layer. But this time I just decided nah to what I was just saying and put it all on one layer anyway. Right now, I'm just thickening some of the lines. That's something that I've really wanted to get better at is thickening lines that are outside and making inner lines really thin. So small details can still be lined, but for the I have a couple reference photos actually off on the side of this skin. It's just not on screen, but I was trying to pay attention to her little dongle in her hair. I don't know what that was, but I still I like the whole look. I thought it was shaved on the side for at first, so I didn't do braids until way later. For the hair, I wanted to get like the thick shape of it done first, and then what I usually would do is to go. Oh, I forgot the arm was there. But what I usually do is I'd go in and get the thick shape, and then I'd go in and I get get weird with all the small details in the hair. So like even here, it's like I made the outer line and then I did the thicker inner lines. And then the hair on the outside has thicker lines, and then hair that's on the inside has thin lines. So if it's a strand, thinner line. If it's shaping it, thick line. So now I'm just going over the mouth. I couldn't decide on her expression, but I decided a little bit of half smile. So more details on the eyes, and then I zoom out to check my lines, and then I start on the hands. I hate drawing hands, and her hands are extra creepy, so it actually made it easier for me because I can give her Grinch fingers. Then I stopped to record. I stopped to like look at hands, and I guess I just forgot to press record. This is me blocking in the flat color for me to just draw on. I used to do it where I'd block it in as like a very bright color, but this I started trying to do muted colors. It's a little easier on the eyes. And if the background's darker, muted colors, it's easier to see the holes in it. So, but if it's a white background, then it's darker colors, makes it easier to see the holes in it. So right here, I'm zoomed in way too close. So now just doing some more details in the hair. Again, these ones, it's fine. Before I was saying I zoomed in too close, but this one is I think it's enough of the detail that you'll be able to see it. And I futzed around with this hair for a while because I realized halfway through that it looks like it would be touching the hair behind it. And maybe that would have been cooler to have it touching the hair behind it, but I was in too deep. So I just committed. It's just gonna be a thing, a theme for my entire life, actually. So I'm just checking for holes in the purple. I know there is holes. I see them now, and but it's that's what happens. You check something maybe 4 or 5 times and still make mistakes. So now I'm using these different paint brushes to just try out the gradient using new brushes that I haven't touched before. However, I made another I'm in too deep decision to do it all on the same layer, even though it would have been so much smarter to do it on a new one. But I didn't. and just got purple everywhere and ended up having to clean it up way too often. Like, I like the brushes, I really liked how it looked, but I probably would have been easier to like control it on a new layer. But I'm stubborn. So on her hands, it's like black to purple, and I couldn't sort that out in my head, so I just gave up and moved on to her skin tone, which is usually how I do it. I don't know why I was so determined to do it differently this time. So now I'm going over and shading it with really soft shading. An artist that I really admire does this. I can't pronounce her name. But they do it like really subtle shading, and then they like do more and more the darker, more oranges and reds, well, depending on the skin tone, but you know, deeper and deeper as the color goes through. And I even shaded or colored some of the parts that are gonna be covered. But it's just practice, just so I can, you know, this part of the body is gonna have shadows here, this part doesn't. I didn't take into account the light source coming from below her for all of the shading on her body, but yeah. I don't know if it's just me. Sometimes while I'm in the middle of shading, I forget where my light source is supposed to be. I need to start like doing what I did when I was younger and just put like a big circle showing me where the light source is going to be and how that'll help me remember. I also shaded part of her scalp because that way the hair gradient will look natural, because you know I thought it was shaved again. I really thought it was shaved, and then I looked later and saw that it was braided, but either way you still see part of the scalp. And now I'm just deciding if I want to keep pulling the darker colors back or adding the lighter ones. So now I'm pulling the lighter ones forward with a very subtle, like practically white color. Later on, I do give the glow, like she's gonna have a purple glow as the light source. But I wanted to do her body naturally colored, like neutral colored, and then when I add the purple later, it'll catch all of it. Like, you know, add the light last, because light hits different. So now I am blocking in the colors for her tail, and again, I don't know why I've decided to do this all in one layer again. I don't know why I'm treating layers like an endangered species, and I swear I just can only handle one. Like, I'll only touch one, but it would have been so much easier to make it its own layer. I also decided, like, I was gonna keep her hip out, and then I looked at the reference photo again and realized that she has a skirt covering that side of her, so I was like, oh yeah, cool. Give her a modesty skirt. And then I flipped it. I used to never flip my drawings, and somebody pointed it out to me that it looks weirder from one side. I think it was on Instagram, or it wasn't to me, it was just somebody pointing something out. So here I go again with the hands, and it's so funny to me because I've done drawings with hands like this. One of my I did a drawing recently, and then a drawing last year where the hands are like this spooky glow, like smoke hands, and I really struggled, even though I've done it before. But you know. So now I'm shading the tail some more, and again, it would have been so much easier on its own layer, but I don't live life easily. I just make everything more difficult for myself in every aspect. So now I'm moving on to futzing with the hands some more, and then I'm going over some more small details. And then I'm blocking in the hair. This one took way too long, so I just kind of tried to like really rush through it. But I spent way too long blocking in the hair. I did it a very bright color just so I would make sure that I don't accidentally color something wrong. The hair's on its own layer. Luckily, I did give in on that one for myself. I gave myself a new layer for the hair. And once that's all done, then I think I realized maybe now that her hair was not shaved and actually braided. So I was trying to figure out the scalp situation, but I was like, circle back. We'll circle back. And then again, checking for holes that are clearly there. The brighter colors, sometimes I miss holes a lot more often. Again, just checking things. And then from here, I gave it a new layer for her clothes. So all of her fabric and things like that. This time I picked a very softer color, again, you know, easier on the eyes than that neon pink. After that, I just moved on to, you know, giving the fabric some details. I started off with, like, you know, shadows first. I think that's something I really want to do more often, is shadows first and then the lighter colors, because it's easier to pull color forward than it is to push it back. And this cell shading pen is my absolute favorite. So much. The blending one, I've been looking for a new one and maybe a new watercolor to use for the blending. But again, there's so many brushes, I have to try them all out. Oh, there'll probably be a lot of me trying out things that don't work. Honestly, that's my whole drawing process. Trying out things that don't work and then just going, how about this? How about that? How about this? How about that? Which there's nothing wrong with. Sometimes I'm afraid to try new things in my art. But I feel like recording it and then watching it back and then going to voiceover for it will help me just remember, you know, erasers exist, so it's okay to try things. So now I'm zoomed out as I should be for the details, because I'm trying to find out which shadows should I pull back more. Because again, the lighting, I wasn't 100% sure on, but I wanted it to be, I think, either from her hand or just below her entirely. But regardless, the fabric would still, you know, have its darker parts. And I wanted to be like a silk, because it looked kind of silky, so I didn't want to make it too harsh on the lines. I wanted it to be like a very soft fabric. Which is something I struggle with. Fabric, I don't. I feel like everything looks latexy whenever I color in fabric, so I was trying really hard to make it soft and natural. I should have been holding like a silk one of my pillowcases or something just to get some. I should do that next time, actually. Note to self. So I was done with the shadows, now I'm bringing the light forward. Again, I wanted it to look silky, and I did the light on its own layer, which makes sense, but all at the same time, I don't know why I was so against layers, and now I'm like, yeah, it's fine, throw them everywhere. I really like how these folds. I'm gonna have to repeat the process. I don't exactly know what I did. I'm even rewatching it. I did it so quickly. I guess I just went with my gut. I want to just start doing that more. And then the small details on her shirt. It looked like it was kind of hard to tell because again in the splash art it's leaned back, and in the character model you're obviously looking behind her. But I think I got it all down, even the little button. And then here I was adding some purple to the fabric, like purple light, because you know it's not white fabric, it's purple fabric. And then back at it again with these hands. She has these like veins, like dark energy veins in her hand, and I thought it was so cool. And again, I've done something pretty similar, but it was more smoke. instead of veins. So this one I get to try something new. I like it. And then next I move on to her eyes. Eye singular. And I wanted to do like, because it's usually she's like looking down, and I didn't know if I wanted her to be looking at you or like just at her hand. I don't know what she was looking at. I couldn't decide. So I just like gave her a very implied pupil opposed to like a definite one. I'm indecisive, clearly. And then I start on the hair with my favorite brush, this cell shaded brush. It's so perfect. It's so versatile. I love it. I just go through it and get like the big shadows done first. My pen tablet was fighting me, so every once in a while I had to just like recalibrate it really quick, which is always fun. But yeah, just doing like the big shadows, and then I would go through and like separate the hairs. Small details always come after the big ones. I think right about here I was like, man, her hair looks so similar to a character from an anime I've been watching way too much lately, and they also have a thing on the side of their head, and I was just like, hey, let me just stop and watch anime, but I was like, no, I should focus. And then I just did some more. I've gotten to this new thing that I've been doing, which is zooming out. Crazy how helpful it is to zoom out and then to do a gradient on the ends of the hair, or like the pretty much like I always try to do like a gradient that's not like black, but like a deeper shade of the hair. So her hair is a lot of purple, so I made like a really saturated deep purple for the ends. And then part of the shadow is a very saturated purple. I like how it looks, and then I can still do the cell shaded up on top of it, so it still just adds to it, even the depths of it, the depths of the shadows, I guess. I don't know English. And then I lighten up the braids. I actually just use the same colors, like the base of her hair. The shadows just make it fall forward on its own, so I don't have to make it add like a brighter color. Just sometimes colors pull things forward. And then on her lips, I thought about giving her a Kim Possible mouth, and then I was like, no, I wanted to have some matte lipstick. I adore matte lipstick, so everybody I draw has to have matte lipstick if it fits their character. And this goth bitch would have matte lipstick. I'd wear her lipstick. We'd both be rocking the matte. And I went on a tangent. Now I'm just adding the lights to her hair, which isn't a white. I wanted to make it purple, like a saturated purple, but not deep like the shadows. And then I move on to her makeup, which I did last for reasons I don't understand, but I really like it. I really like how it came out. It looks very natural. I think I might do this from now on, to do the skin tone and the hair first and the makeup last, so that because I just use the colors of her hair on her eyes, and it looks really good actually. And then now doing the details on the metal bit in her hair. And then I'm going the lines on her hands, because that's when it's black on black, it's important to make sure the lines stand out. But I wanted the lines to be purple, because that's how it is in her splash art. And I did some more stuff, and then a lot of it kind of got lost because I did the scales and I paused it. I guess I just didn't record fast enough. But I really like how it came out. And then I did some more details that I also forgot to record. I have to get better at this. I'm hoping with practice I'll get better at the voiceover and recording aspects. And then there you go. I finished it, did the background, and added some of the light sources I mentioned. And it came out great. I really like it. And I hope somebody else found this informative or helpful. Thank you for watching.